University for me was to have as much fun as possible. And I had so much fun at university in the UK. It was fantastic. Like every day just drinking, partying, traveling. I spent the bursaries, I spent everything on traveling and just being a student. That's what it's about. But that taught me about financing. In school, no one teaches you jack about finances, especially in the UK. No one tells you this is the value of money, this is what an insurance costs you, this is what bills do. No one ever taught me that.
I don't think in university they do this either.
And so then you learn that, wow, actually making money is bloody difficult.
Yes.
It's so difficult to make money. And then spending money is just like, ding, ding,
yeah,
tap. It's just done. Then I look and I'm just like, what the hell did I spend that on? Then I'm like, bar. This, sports bar. And I'm like, who the hell's buying drinks for? And I'm like, oh yeah, that night. Yeah. So this. Jack Ma, the owner of Alibaba, has always said, or has said in numerous interviews, that in your 20s you should work for a corporate, right? You should work for a big business, right? Or a small business, whatever you, and working for a small business is acceptable, right? But working for a big business, you learn the processes, you learn the procedures, you learn, how to write emails, you write punctuality and how to talk to people, diverse people from different backgrounds, different spheres that you would probably not get exposure to in a small business. You learn from them, right? Between 30 and 40, you follow a good boss, someone who can really build your skills, right? Someone you trust within the world of business, someone you can follow, someone who can, challenge you, someone who will give you opportunity. You take the opportunity, and then in your late 30s, you go in, you start your own business, you start something, new, you start something of your own, and you grow that. And then when you get into later stages, like 40 and 50, you start giving back. You go help graduates out, you go help do charity work, you do philanthropy, you've made your money. You've made the big chunk of your money between 20 and, your late 30s, 40s. That's your prime time to make money. And then 40s, you're either building your wealth in a different way or you're giving back. And then 60 and above, you're still giving back, and then you take it from there. So that's how I've thought. That's how I think. So when people are thinking like, why'd you make this decision? Because I said to myself, 20 to 30, you work for big companies, and I did it. I worked for some of the biggest companies across the UK and the Middle East now. As soon as I turned 30, I left. And now I'm at halfway through my wealth mode, where I'm building wealth, where I'm investing, I'm building startups, I'm making money, I'm buying houses, and so on and so forth, until I get to the next stage where it's like, I've done it. I know the antidote, I know the formula of success. Give back, teach people, jump on podcasts, educate people. I have to caveat that I'm not giving any financial advice. It's merely my opinion, and different people have different ways of investing. You do what your risk appetite is. Mine is high. I'm just like, YOLO, just here we go, bang it. Bang your number 50, let it spin, let's see what happens. But some people are risk adverse, which basically means if you don't know enough about it and you want to start small, then start where you think you're comfortable and then roll the dice and then see how it goes. And some people are like, I'm not investing at all, which is also acceptable. But then you need to, that reflects on your life as well. So you can take it from there.
Let's say when you're risk averse, right? You would do your research before you YOLO it. 100%, right? So if somebody's risk adverse, right? They are risk adverse for a couple of reasons, right? And this is finance 101, which is like, if they're risk adverse, they either don't have the time or they don't have enough knowledge to understand. So a good advice is do what's comfortable, right?
Or do your research.
Right? Not VC funding is probably not for everybody. Stock investing is probably not for everybody.
Bonds is not
for everybody. Maybe you should stick to something safer. Maybe you should buy a home or gold.
Or gold, Gold, I think, is the easiest way of investing.
Again, no. It depends.
It depends.
Okay.
Listen, let's go all the way back. Let's go all the way back before we go into like financial investment and where to invest. Most of our learning is done in our adolescence, between the ages of probably like 5, maybe if you're smart, maybe early, all the way to maybe like 15 or 16, where people then start making important decisions about university, school, and so on and so forth. In that 10-year period, most of what you learn is through your family. It's what did my dad do? What did my uncle do? What did my mum do? And in the traditional families, I'm from an Indian background. My parents are from Africa. Roots are from India. They came to the UK as immigrants, and they were very risk adverse because they didn't have any money. You know, and I'm not saying that we were poor and we were slumming it. No, I had a very, very good upbringing, and I got most of what I wanted within a certain degree. There was a lot of no's, there was a lot of slaps. That's totally fine. That's the culture I came from, right? But my parents were always cautious and reserved about when it comes to the taboo of money. They were like, no, don't spend it there, or don't do this, or we can't do this, or we can't do that. And my friends were all flying to Europe on holiday, and they went to Disneyland Paris, and my parents were like, no. And I was like, why? Like, they were like, oh, but you know, the money in it, you know, to travel with five people, I had two siblings, to go in and to go on holiday, it was like a special thing that happened every 5 years, if that. So you learn from financial literacy from the culture and the routine of your family.
Yeah.
And in those days, and this, you know, obviously my age now, 20 years ago, or maybe 25 years ago, the role of your dad or your uncle was to support the family. So there was no cash to then spend on, you know, on the stock market or whatever. Any money that came was either spread across the family or for your education, which is a big thing about our culture. Again, very cultural, and I'm sure it resonates with other cultures, but in mine, because obviously it's my opinion, is that's where most of the money was spent. So when we were growing up, whilst we got things, you know, Nintendo and wherever it was that we wanted, we got it, but it was like a super treat and everyone had to share. Like, it was one of those cultures where if you're going to buy a PlayStation, you get one controller and then you play day and night, and, you know, that's all you get. And then every so often you might get like, I don't know, like £5, which is about 20 dirhams from your grandma, who'd be like, this is my life savings. And what does 20 dirhams get you? It's nothing. So, you know, you learn from that experience. And then when you get to a certain age, when you can make your own decisions, you hone those routines, you hone that knowledge. Like, actually, we should be a bit vigilant about where we're spending and what we're doing. And then that's how your financial literacy starts. In school, no one teaches you jack about finances, especially in the UK. No one tells you this is the value of money, this is what an insurance costs you, this is what bills do. No one ever taught me that.
I don't think in university they do this either.
No, so unless you do a finance major, they don't even
you're talking about accounts and this and you know, doing your
basic concepts, right? Like the value of money, right? Like value of a dollar today is not the value of dollar tomorrow, right? Basic, because you have your inflation and everything. How do you value money today? Is this $1 equal to $1 tomorrow? They don't teach you. And this is like, we're talking about dollars, we're not talking about complex financial instruments and everything. That's where I think the education system also fails us, right? Like wherever we go, it's across the world, right? Like all the curriculums are pretty much pulled from the UK or the US or one of these bigger countries, right? So none of them, they don't talk about your life saving. How do you keep a proportion your money? How do you spend? How do you save? Well, we talk about, you know, rock formations and like how many volcanoes are there in the world. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
None of that, to be honest. I didn't go to any lectures at university. I'm that type of guy. I can read the entire textbook and sit the exam. That's the type of person I am. So I didn't learn anything at university, and I hold my hands up and say that university for me was to have as much fun as possible, and I had so much fun at university in the UK. It was fantastic. Like every day, just drinking, partying, traveling. I spent the bursaries, I spent everything on traveling and just being a student. That's what it's about. But that taught me about financing. That I can't spend all my bursary in the first week, because then I've got a whole semester to live on, and then you're like living on bread and handouts and you know, just eating cold pizza 5 days in a row. But that really taught me about financial literacy, because I was like, if I don't spend my money and actually, you know, keep a balance and check and throughout the entire semester, I'm going to run out by it comes to December. And I know December is going to be a big, you know, month, because it's Christmas and everyone's going to be coming home and you want to spend on whatever you want to spend and gifts and stuff like that. And I didn't have the money. So then it really made me understood the value of money.
Real life experience, I feel, really help in understanding money rather than university lectures
100%.
that teach finance or accounting.
No. And you have to learn from your own experiences, because then everyone's experience is different. Some of my friends were getting handouts by their parents, £700-800, you know, 3,000-4,000, you know, dirhams, or some of my parents actually paid their uni fees up front. No, my parents couldn't afford it. I had to actually get a loan from the government and actually pay that back, and I was going to get charged interest as soon as I finished university. And then I had my going out money and so on and so forth. So there was a massive delta between how much money I was getting from the government versus my lifestyle, and there was a massive gap. And so who's going to fill that gap? Either I'm just broke, or I have to ask my brother, which I did multiple times. So thank you so much. But there's also, I had to go get a job. And then you realize that actually making money, I was getting paid something like 15 dirhams an hour back then, talking about 10 years ago. That's nothing. It's like £3. It was like minimum wage back then. And I'm thinking £3, I work 20 hours a week. That's like £60 a week. That doesn't get you anywhere. That's like 2 nights out, right? And so then you learn that, wow, actually making money is bloody difficult.
Yes.
It's so difficult to make money. And then spending money is just like, bing, bing,
Yeah,
tap.
tap.
It's just done. Then I look and I'm just like, what the hell did I spend that on? Then I'm like, bar. This, sports bar. And I'm like, who the hell's buying drinks for? And I'm like, oh yeah, that night. So this is it. And everyone does the same shit, right? There was only maybe about 5% of people who were like, we're going to save and put it into an ISA account or this high yearning, blah, blah. And then they'll go to like Monaco on holiday because they saved all of their money. And I was just like, I live for the moment. And a lot of my friends did that. And they just spent their money and everyone was in the same situation. And then the 3 years that I was there really kind of built the foundations that, Shyam, if you want to be successful, you need to save money. And, going back and then, graduating, I got a 2-1, which was amazing because I didn't go to uni. I was broke and I had like £20,000 or £30,000 debt to pay off, but I didn't have no money. And this was coming towards 2011, which was a massive crisis after 2008. So no one was hiring. So what do? Like, you go work in retail, but I'm like, I've got a degree now. I've just spent 30,000 going to work in retail. What the hell? Getting paid what? £3 an hour? Hell no. I applied for every single graduate scheme in construction and finance, anything. I just applied. 1,000 resumes went out, dear sir, madam, I'm, looking for a job, got rejected. Only a small portion of my friends got into work, right? And then after that, everyone started getting a job, but I spent a year unemployed. And in that year, I was like so depressed with my life. I had no money. I was overweight. I kind of had nothing going for myself. I was living with my parents. I hated living with my parents because I was so free for 3 years. To go back with your parents, they're like, wake up, do this, do that. And I was like, I just can't be asked with this right now. Like, I'm trying to get a graduate job and you are pestering me, just go away. And it was just every day, like, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life? But they don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't understand what's going through my head. And it's that traditional, like, just, it's your fault. And that's what parents do. They just get angry at you. And it's just like, I'm trying my best. I don't know what to do. You're not giving me any support. And then it's just like, just every single day. And I felt like that for a year. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to try. And it was the adversity for that year which built me today. It was those adversities, and not many people know this, by the way. So it's a special throw out here today. Not many people know about what drives me, and it was that adversity from 2013 when I tried to get into graduate schemes, and everyone said no. Everyone said no. Not even one company said yes. And only when I built my brand, my personal brand, that one person, and shout out to this lady, she gave me the chance to work for internship, unpaid. Everything was unpaid. For 2 weeks, and I smashed it. And she says, we're going to offer you a graduate position. And they paid me, I think back then it was £25,000. So probably around 100,000 dirhams a year, which was great, right? I was still living with my parents. I didn't have to pay any rent. And then I was like, started building my financial, report. And, I had a healthy bank account. When I say healthy, there's probably about £600 in there after I paid off my debts and personal finances that I borrowed off people, my brother, all that kind of stuff. And I said to myself, I'm never going to be in this situation ever again, ever. And that really brought the tenacity and this ambition to be like, actually, I'm going to get straight to the top. And that's what I did. I went straight to the top. When I was 28 years old, I was building sites. I was working in Saudi. I was making good money, good bonuses, doing very great stuff for my career, built this amazing personal brand. But I was just ridiculous. My work ethic, 7 days a week, doing random stuff, building my portfolio, talking to people, going to networking events, being deserving, just doing everything I can to just make something out of myself. And I got there eventually. And then once that chapter closed at 28, and I was like, I've done a lot in such a short period of time. I'm still young. I just about started shaving. I'm like, I've got so much to give to the world. This is where the startup entrepreneurship, like, I'm throwing the dice in. I'm throwing all the chips into all the money I've made to build a product that I don't even know is going to work. And that's when I started my first business.
So you took that risk?
The risk was there. Obviously after failing after all these times, especially from 2013, where I got knocked down by all of these companies, you're talking about hundreds of companies who just said no. I was, that's what I know. I know failure. That's what I'm used to now. So like, if I'm going to fail, I'm going to do it all over again. And so even if you get to that stage in your life and you're like, I've made it, which everyone's like, Shyam, you've made it. You know, you're flying business class, you're doing this, you're buying this watch, you're buying this. Yeah, I've got all these materials, mean shit to me, to be honest. You know, everyone's wearing Givenchy and Fendi and whatever it is, right? All these t-shirts, and they're spending 700 dirhams in, you know, Dubai Mall and Mall of the Emirates buying all these shoes. I mean, guys, like, honestly, I spent all of that money. I sold all of my belongings, and anyone listening who knows me knows I only wear black tees and blue jeans. Look at my LinkedIn profile, looked at all of my Instagram, black t-shirt, blue jeans. If I go to a formal event, I just put on a blazer. Done. Simple. It's minimalistic. It's the way to go. I don't care about brands. I don't care about showing off. I drive a Mitsubishi Artrage, right? It doesn't matter. Everyone lives this lifestyle, especially in Dubai, where you have to keep up with the Joneses, but you will never, let me tell you, you will never keep up with the next person, because there's someone
higher than you.
Everyone's just putting their credit card, boom, 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 boom. Air Jordans, Jordan 4s, you know, Givenchy t-shirts, you know, Levi's jeans, this, that, and the other, you know, all the jewelry, bling, bling, Patek Philippe, all this stuff. But they can't afford it.
Yeah.
They're just living off this, you know, fast track, credit card, and whatnot. It doesn't work. So building financial wealth comes from building a good foundation for your financial literacy, and then understanding what money means and how long that can last you, and to actually build wealth. It's a new trigger word, wealth. It's actually building and investing on long-term assets or stocks and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's a long-term thing, right? It's not a short-term thing, right?
Yeah.
All your watches and shirts and all these things, very short-term, right? You look rich, but like, it's not about what lasts for. Like, your watches, your Patek Philippe's probably going to last a little longer, but your Givenchy t-shirt's not going to last as long. And these are not assets at the end of the day. These are just material things.
Some watches that are, because I like my watches, right? So I will caveat that some watches appreciate in value, especially if you're going for the high-end brands. So if they appreciate in value, that could be a good investment, right? A short-term investment if you're going to be flipping it, or a long-term investment if you want to pass it on for legacies like Audemars Piguet and Patek Philippe, right? We're not going to watches, but yes, they could be a good investment if you get them for retail, right? And that could last you for a long period of time. You could double your money. Cars. Some people are like, oh, let's buy a Lamborghini. If you buy one of 250 or one of 100, which becomes a classic car, you can make tons of money. But those people who are just buying it because they want to keep up, you know, that's not me. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do. You can do whatever you want with your money. If you want to go buy these things, 100% go and do it. But if you actually want to build long-term wealth, in my opinion, you have to have a diverse portfolio, which is short-term, medium, and long-term. Short-term could be, as I said, you know, stocks and shares, right? Online. Right, you can go to like Baraka or Sarwa or some of these other fintech companies who've made, you know, financial planning and financial investment a lot more easier for Gen Z, Gen Y, right? Then you've got medium term, which could be funds. So, you know, I use a fund in Switzerland called Internac Swiss Quotes, which is an electronic traded fund, which is, you know, a high risk fund, which is managed by BlackRock. Who are the probably number one investment corporation in the world, where most of my money sits, and that gets me a good percentage. Then I have long-term assets, which are real estate. So housing in the UK, Dubai, you know, where I know, and obviously coming from construction, I know where to buy. You know, I know the demographic. I've been here for 10 years. I know which products, which assets, I know what's constructed well. I know what's going to work. I know that, right? Along with research and talking to my network, like, hey, even this morning I was speaking to one of my friends. He was like, there's JLT development is going up. Like, what do you think? And I was like, okay, JLT, great master plan, just finished Uptown Dubai. They've got a number of towers going up. You know, the developer's good. It's a concrete frame. Okay, their fixtures and fittings are from China, but you can replace that at any given time. Their white goods aren't that great, but you can replace the white goods as well. I think, you know, per pound per square foot or for dirham per square foot, I think it's quite reasonable. I think that's going to go up by about 15% in the next 12 months, but interest rates are high. So as long as, you know, interest rates go low, unless you're cash rich, which he's not, unless interest rates go low, maybe you need to consider because your EMI might be too high and you may not be get the rental income that you want to cover your EMI. Think about it. Is this something you can consider? I can give him the advice. It's up to him to decide whether he wants to do it. If it was me, I'm only sticking to certain developers in the Middle East because from a construction background, I know how they build. I know the quality of their specifications. I know where I want to keep my money. So that's long term. So everyone has their own way of investing. A lot of my friends went into crypto and they lost a lot of money. And I says, I told you so. Like, bro, listen to my advice. Like, not to say, to blow my own trumpet. It's not to say I know everything, but I was like, crypto is too new, in my opinion. Web3 is too new. It may work in the short run. You may be able to flip some coins if you know what you're doing. But in my opinion, I don't think that it's going to kick off because
it's unregulated.
Underdeveloped. And I know there's some coins coming out, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I just don't understand crypto. And if I don't understand something, I'm not going to go put my money that I've spent years and years building in something that I don't know. I have a passion for startups. And so maybe in the next couple of years, once I build more, wealth, I have money to spend, I want to open my own fund, to be an angel investor, to be a micro VC, to help founders like yourself and others to be like, hey, look, I really like your idea. I'm going to put a small check in for $20,000 and I'll be your mentor to actually get you to the next stage. That would be another investment opportunity for me. So you need to do what you are passionate about, what you feel comfortable with, and how liquid your money needs to be. Because if you need that money to feed your family or to support your education, you need that money quick. And if you put it to a long-term fund, that's not the option for you. But if you have cash and you don't need it, put it in something long-term. Put it in something high risk. You're young. Do it, right? But if you think about quick money you're going to make, I'm going to buy and sell this, guys.
Long-term as in like, what example would you give?
Long-term funds or long-term investments.
What would you think is the best way, best thing to invest in for the youth?
Let's not get there.
I mean, in his opinion, what do you think the youth...
Well, for me, I think I'm fairly young, right? So I'm going to say I fit in that category also, right? If you're making money, right? If you're making, say, like 20,000 dirhams or 25,000 dirhams, and I'm sure most of you are living at home with your parents, right? So you don't have to pay rent, right? So considering that, I would probably set aside 10,000 dirhams, right? And you decide where you want to invest that. For me, it would be putting it into maybe a short-term fund to get you to the next stage, which is real estate. Save up that deposit. Save up 26% for your first house, wherever that is. It could be in Ajman, Sharjah, Abu Dhabi, where maybe real estate prices are lower, in an area which is up and coming, where there's going to be big development. That's my opinion because I'm from the construction real estate background. I feel comfortable doing that. Some people might say, actually, Dubai's just actually announced a new coin. So let me just invest in that because maybe X developer is going to use that as their primary transaction, in which case you're going to be like, hey, I'm going to go invest in that. But then I don't know enough about crypto to make that decision. And I'm not going to sit on Reddit and look at all these comments from different people because my mind is just going to go... So I'd rather just go and invest in something that I think is going to be that's going to work, or go to a fintech company where they are dealing with big amounts of money, like a Sarwa or Baraka, and I'm not sponsored by them, guys. These are just names that are well known in the industry, and I'm sure there's others to go and invest a bit of money, maybe if it's even as small as 10 dirhams. Let's see where 10 dirhams gets you after a week or 2 weeks. If it's going up by 1 dirham, might be a good choice to put your money there. Right?
If it's going by 1 dirham, it's pretty good.
Exactly.
It's very good.
It's really
exactly.
good.
But keeping your money in the bank, do not do that. Like, I'm not. My dad does this. He's so risk adverse. Like, no, you don't know what you're doing, son. And I'm like,
it's a lot
you don't know
more
what you're doing.
riskier, right? It's a lot more riskier, right? One, the bank could go out of business.
100%.
Right? Most importantly, inflation's going really high.
Yes.
So the value of money is just depleting at a constant scale, right?
Correct.
So money sitting in your bank is probably the worst place for it to stay.
Some of my friends enjoy buying and selling cars. So they buy a car for X dirhams. They know what they're doing. Obviously, I don't know anything about cars. They buy it and then they find a seller and say, I'll give you 5,000 dirhams more. Okay. Short-term investment. He's done it. He's flipped it. Watches as well. They buy a refurb watch from Hong Kong. They'll sell it. Or someone gets diamonds from Africa or India. They license it and then they sell it on, and so on and so forth. So there's different ways of thinking about this. Some people start their own business. They get their own money and they start something where they have full control over the journey of where this could be, and they could then do a SaaS model. And using ChatGPT, and maybe if you've got a friend who can code to create a solution, go out there and charge people $10 for your service, which a lot of people have started doing now.
Yeah.
Dubai, the UAE, the Middle East has made it so easy for you to start your business here. With the infrastructure that they've got, starting your business hasn't become easier. Facts. We've done it. We've got free zone license, we've got a mainland license to get sponsored. I think it took 15 to 20 days. Done. You got yourself a business, guys. You're a business owner. You can then find something to sell. If you have to bake cookies and go out to the market, do it. You're a business owner. And there are so many ideas out there to invest your money in. Sometimes forget about investing outside, invest in yourself. Use that money to buy your suit, to then go to Email Square and saying, hey, can I have a job? Here's my CV. People don't do that anymore because they're also online, but talk to someone. I always say that there's two things I'm a big advocate of, is asking the right question. So going in, being deserving and saying, hey, listen, like how we did this morning, right? You asked me, hey, look, this is a new space, this is where we're recording, we got thrown out of our old place, whatever. Okay, cool. I messaged 2 people saying, hey, I've got startups podcast, can we use your space every Saturday, whatever. One of them says, yeah, why not? The other one hasn't got back to me. But listen, if you didn't ask the question, that's number 1. Number 2 is people, like, for example, I ask my friends, like, what does your brother do? He's like, oh, I don't really know. And I'm like, how do you not even know what your brother does, or your sister, or your dad, or whatever? We don't ask these questions to our immediate circle. Yeah. We just assume. We just assume that they're in this. Like, people just assume I'm in construction, but construction is a massive industry. Sometimes going to your first tier network and just asking them, like, hey, what do you do actually do? Yeah, okay, I work in banking. What part of banking? Oh, I work for front desk for JP Morgan investment in emerging assets. Okay, what does that actually mean? I go invest in countries like Africa and India and do this. I get the debt and I resell it. I package it up and sell it to someone. Oh, interesting. What type of companies do you work for? For this company. Oh, I applied to them. Is there any way you can get me in? Like, in terms of, yeah, I know the guy at the top. Yeah? Because you asked your first tier network. And I'm very good at asking my first tier network. Hey guys, do you know this? Or do you know someone? Blah, blah. And obviously this ties in with what I'm doing with Wasta. But do you understand? People don't do that.
Yeah,
people don't do that.
Just a simple example, right? Until very recently, I didn't really know what my dad did.
Yeah.
Right? I knew he was in IT. I knew he was which company he was working on. But what did he really do day to day is something I've recently learned.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, I meet him every day. We eat food together every day. Every weekend we go out together. Yeah. He's like the closest friend I have. It's kind of sad to say, but he's like one of like the people I look up to, right? I'm like, what do you really do? And like he's in IT, but why are you working with spreadsheets and budgets? Right? What is this? Right? Like, look, there's a budget, right? Every year we need to get this much budget so that there are people, there's work there, everything there. We need to get this much of infrastructure, this much of modems and routers and this and that. Like, okay, this is brand new information. I wish I knew this 20 years ago.
It's the same thing with my dad as well. Like, for the longest time, all I knew he was doing is automation. And then, like, I started working with him, and then I started finding out that, he deals with robotics, he does oil, gas, and a lot of other things as well. And I'm like, wow, okay, I didn't know that. I thought you just, you left Siemens, you do automation, and that's about it.
That's it.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. It's important to ask these questions because that's really where your formation of your network comes in. And network, I think this is the theme of this conversation as well, and financial literacy, but your network really helps you to get to that next stage, right? It helps you build that foundation, to ask the questions, to learn, to develop, because everyone's alone. Everyone's on their own journey. So if you're not asking the right questions, how are you supposed to get to the next stage? And even I'm learning, and I have mentors as well who are very high up in these businesses. And the reason why they're high up is because I aspire to be them. I'm not going to choose a mentor who's just going to give me advice without doing it themselves, right? I want to have the best mentors who have done it, who've either done an M&A and got acquired, or are a top recruitment CEO who's made a good brand for themselves, just to give me some advice. And that's not to say that I take their advice on. I always go, I calculate, I said, this person's giving me this advice. What does that actually mean in the context of me? And then take the decision. Because his journey, my journey, their journey is different to my journey. I'm different age. He's 20 years senior to me. His thinking is a little bit more mature, quite dated, whereas I'm more in this technology world where I think I can do it slightly different, but I take the principle of what he's saying and bringing it back into the context of my problem and then taking it from there. And then I ask someone else, what do you think of this? Do you think it's going to work? And then move forward. So when you're taking that in the context of financial literacy and making investments, it's okay to ask people, what do you think? And me and my friendship circle do that daily. Because we're at that age now. Like, what are you guys investing in? Oh, AstraZeneca. Okay, well, is there a new mask coming out? Is it something to do with COVID 2 or 3? What's actually happening? Who are you investing with? Oh, Saxo Bank. Okay, or Saxo online portal. Yeah. Okay, cool. Or is it this? Or is it that? How did you do it? Show me. Do you have a username? Can I call someone? Pick up the phone, and then make the move. Start small. Think big. Put 10, 15 dirhams in, 1,000 dirhams, whatever you can afford. See where that goes after a couple of weeks. Boom, put more money in, put more money in. Listen to the news, watch the news, what's going on. If you think that something's going to go down, take your money out, put it somewhere else. So it all really depends on your strategy and basically where you want to go. But in terms of building long-term wealth, you need to have a diverse portfolio with different elements, because if as you said, the gold price goes down and you put all your money in gold, you're
Yeah.
like, you need to hedge your bets.
Yeah.
You need to be like, if gold goes down, then stocks go up,
Yeah.
or stocks go down, gold goes up, or you know that, oh, there's a new startup that's just floated on, the NASDAQ, and you know they've got amazing CEO coming from Disney, you know that you need to put money there, You need to put your money there, because that Bob Iger, for example, is going to come in and he's going to take this into $1 million business. You take the risk and you say, well, he's a well-known CEO. He's going to come in and he's going to do some amazing things. And the stock is at, 10 fills and it's probably going to go up by 50. I'm going to put my money there, right? Or you kind of, look at what's going on in the market if you do stocks and shares. Or you might say, okay, look, there's a new development by, math, and, they're off plan at a super amazing price and you've got the money. Or you do crowdfunding with your friends. Hey, give me 100, you give me 100, you give me 100. We invest together and we sell it. We're going to make 100,000 dirhams at the end of this, additional in profit. Let's go do it. But what's your risk appetite?
Yeah.
Imagine that development never gets built. Do you understand? So there's a risk factor that you have to take, and then you have to decide, like, is this the right thing for me? Because there's so much to invest in, and that's the difficult part for most young people. There is so much, and they don't know, and they don't come from that background, and they want to get rich, but they don't know what to do. But you need to spend time for yourself to learn, because no one's going to give you that answer unless your dad's a hedge fund manager.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get rich, right? But nobody wants to put in the effort.
Yeah, nobody wants to go through the journey of getting rich.
The journey is fun, but it's also hard.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Nobody wants to experience that. They just
Yeah.
want to boom one day,
Yeah.
It's not
have
just
millions
nobody,
of dollars
right?
in their bank.
I would say it's less about nobody wants to do it and more about they don't understand that sometimes there's ups and downs, right? It's not going to be all ups and
No,
no
I think
downs.
they know that,
And,
but
like,
that's
they
what they're
get, like,
scared of
going down.
like going down. Yeah,
2 downs and they'll be like, yeah, this is probably
exactly.
No one's failed. Any super billionaire that you look at, Bezos, Zuckerberg, all these guys have failed at different things.
Yeah.
I still remember when Facebook had a feature, or they've had many features which haven't gone wrong. Like even with this Twitter thing that they're doing.
Yeah, trends.
Come on, like the day one, oh my god, and then it went whoop,
Yeah,
down.
completely
And
out.
now they're thinking, oh, okay, look, let's give it more time, and Facebook working on some crazy thing. Like even with Meta, like I still don't understand how this VR thing is working.
No, they're
how
moving
it's done.
out, right? Like if you've seen
Do
the
you
recent
understand? Yeah.
keynotes, they're moving towards the AI and
Yeah.
like they're having their
Yeah.
own LLMs and stuff, right? So they're completely a notorious example is Google, right? Like how quickly they just shut down things.
Yeah.
Right? They just bring out things,
Yes.
shut down things,
But this is the iterate. Even though Google's a big organization, they still roll
Like a startup. Yeah.
right? So one of our
nothing's off the table.
nothing's off the table. Like even like so TikTok, Wasta and TikTok are official partners, right? So we partnered with TikTok this year, which is a huge testament to where Wasta is as a brand. But when we work with them, they're still a startup as well. Even though
Yeah.
they're one of the biggest, fastest growing social site in the Middle East, they're still iterating quickly. They're bringing new features, they're changing, they're listening to the users, they're adapting to the market, they're embracing, what the market wants, and they're iterating quickly and fast. And this is what we're doing as Wasta. We learn, we iterate, we speak to our users, we iterate, we learn from our users, iterate, feature build, next, keep on building quite fast. We run in sprints basically until we get to the product. And even then, we have to sustain that as well. As our user group changes, the problem statement changes, and then we go from step to step. So it's all about taking those small steps first to get there.
Incremental.
But you're definitely not going to get there by not failing. And if you don't want to fail, then
Just
you're going to
don't-
be stuck in the same
yeah.
position. You have to in everything, your personal relationships, some of them may fail, dating someone, it might not work, you get set back, you build from that, you cry it out, it's fine. No, go to therapy, speak to someone, come back, then go to the second stage, right? It may not work, go to therapy again, cry a little bit more, punch the wall, get back to it. It's fine, we're all human beings, right? It's okay. No, there's a taboo, no, we shouldn't go to therapy. I went to therapy. It's open, I told my friends I went to therapy because it was damn hard. Like raising the startup, building, losing all that money, sleeping on people's couches, and shout out to all my friends who lent me their couch for a year, had no money, didn't know what I was going to do, nothing was working. It's tough. And mentally, at my age, when I was 31 then, when everyone is married, having kids, and I couldn't do anything because I had no money. And I spunked all that money from Saudi, spent all of it, and I made shit tons of money in Saudi. So what do you do then? You're stuck. The walls are caving in. The sun is going down. What the hell am I going to do? Got no money. You have to think on your feet. Yeah, and life will kick you down and hit you in the ribs hard. And this is what happens when you're a startup founder. And some people may not talk about it and say, yeah, you know, it happened and I got somewhere, whatever. But a lot of founders won't ever tell you their story. And it is super, super, super tough. But then when you come out of it, you appreciate everything that's happened to you.
But I don't think everybody has the ink to come out of it.
In terms of?
In terms of how you went through like therapy and you went through probably depression and like everything. I feel like not everybody has that strength to come back out.
Once you've kind of put both legs in, there's no coming back. Okay, you could go back to work. But for me, I was so I want to build this community. I know there's something there. I know Wasta is going to succeed. I know Work Panda is going to succeed. I know the PMC is going to succeed. There is something there. I've got it. But I just need to go. I just need to push. I just need to get there. I'm at the finish line. I got cramps in my legs.
What motivated you?
As I said, the failure from when I was a graduate. It was that Shyam, keep on going. One more year out of work. Keep on going. There's a voice in my head. Keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going. No, get there. Go. And it is it's tough, and that's what breaks you down. Because if that voice stops in your head,
then you're done.
You're done. Yeah. You're done. And that voice, that running in my head, keep on going, Shyam. My work ethic, it's Saturday, guys. Look, I'm still grinding. I'm still working. I'm sending emails out. I'm planning for Monday. I can't wait until it's Monday. Everyone's back to work. Bang. But that's my work ethic. I've been doing it for so long now, for 10 years. All I know is grinding, hustling, meeting people, doing things, making things, fixing relationships, bringing people together. If you put me on a beach, that's a bad idea. Because I'm I can't do this. I can't sit there. In my mind, I'm thinking, this needs to happen. I need to remortgage this. I need to change that. I've got new employees starting on Monday. I've got this to do. Even right now, I'm sitting in this podcast, but I'm thinking about several different things at once.
Isn't that not healthy for you though?
Any entrepreneur listening to this, any entrepreneur listening to this, I
just feel like he's suffering from within.
No, it's not. It's passion. Because there's so much stuff going on.
That's the thing, right? The beauty of this is this is yours. Right?
Yeah.
All you're thinking about is for you, right?
Yeah.
Whatever decisions you take is you. It's not for somebody else. It's not 15 steps above making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
It's about you living, you enjoying that process. So
it's
a lot healthier than working a 9 to 5 and going in, day out. No,
I'm not saying 9 to 5 is healthy. I don't agree with 9 to 5 either. But I don't agree with your work ethics as well, the way you explained it to me. I don't think
there's a certain type of person who can take on this, and it's self-inflicted.
It's a person-to-person thing.
Yeah, it's self-inflicted. Not everyone can do what I do. People are saying, Shyam, look, one startup is tough for me, and I do 3.
Yeah.
But I flip between a task. One day you might be doing this assignment, then the next couple of hours you do something else. I do exactly the same, but different businesses. Because I get bored of doing recruitment sometimes. I'm it's so boring. Then I jump onto Wasta, which is a little bit more fun. Then I'm talking to a VC or a startup founder, and then we're bouncing, cracking jokes, whatever. And then I'm this is too much. Now I go to maybe do something for construction, and I flip back to recruitment. So it's just that. But when you're in the midst of things and you see things working, and you're just excited, it's the dopamine in my head. I'm just damn, I just spoke to the CEO of the biggest company, and who am I to speak to him? That's dopamine. That hits me in the head. I'm that was amazing. Okay. That's amazing. Jumping on the podcast and talking about my adversities. I'm gonna go back home and be that was sick. I cannot wait to post this on LinkedIn. I cannot wait to go on LinkedIn, chop it up, get these moments, and go out and inspire thousands of people and say, this was my journey, guys, you're not alone on this. And I'll get millions of DMs saying, can you help me? And I will go out and help these people.
Yeah.
And that's what drives me. What doesn't drive me is making shit tons of money and driving a Ferrari. I'm not that type of person. That doesn't drive me. It drives other people, and I want this, I want that. But when you get to the stage where you can have it,
it then gets
boring. You don't
boring.
really want it. It's just what more do you want?
I
can do that. I can go buy trainers. I can go buy whatever I want. I can go on holiday anywhere. I can do this. Everyone says, and I was one of those people, I wish I could just sit in Bali and just, work remotely, make shit tons of money. I can do that. all my businesses are remote. I've got employees who can work. I can sit in Bali, Mykonos, buy bottles of Dom P, party. I don't like doing that. That was so when I was 20. But when you're at this stage, it's more about, okay, I want to create another business now. I want to do something fun. And there is a detriment on my mental health and my personal relationships, because everyone's like, Shyam, it's Saturday, why don't you just come to brunch? And I'm like, nah, man, I'm doing a podcast. I'm doing a podcast. I'm like, I'd rather, like, everyone's at Sushi Samba right now, drinking, partying, having fun, spending 600-700 dirhams on a brunch. And I'm here hustling, speaking to people that I love, talking about things I love. And that's it. And that's what I'm about. And I love doing that. It's sad, but it's something that I just enjoy.
It's not sad. Now I don't find it sad. And now I actually think that that's your true happiness.
This is it. Like, I'm happy talking about work. If I go into a conversation, let's take dating. Dating is very difficult. Like, I can turn my date into a customer. Like, because I can be like, you talk about that. This is your problem. Like, you need Wasta, my friend.
Oh my God.
That's it. Done. If you don't Wasta, I'm like, sorry, your friends are in that. Bye. This is it. That's the matter of fact. Because I'm just like, you talk to me about your life, and I'm just like, this is so fucking boring. Like, you're doing nothing with your life.
God.
And this is it. And this is what happens, like, to someone like me, because I'm like, go, flying here, doing this, doing that, and you're just telling me about, like, I just did this, and I'm like, this is boring. So then it does take a toll on your personal life being someone like me. And my entrepreneur friends, when we get together and we're talking, we're on the same page, because it's difficult to get into a relationship because they don't understand your life.
Yeah.
You're working like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning because you have a bright idea. You switch on your laptop and you're typing an email at 5 in the morning. They're like, what are you doing? Or you go somewhere and you're driving and you're just listening to a podcast like Stephen Bartlett. Like, why the hell are you just thinking about work? Because I'm just like, this is what gives me my fuel. And then this certain type of person, if you want that person as a partner or in your circle, needs to understand that I'm going to miss your wedding. I don't care if you're my best friend, but I'm going to miss your wedding. And I've done that to a lot of people. But they understand that I'm on a different journey. I missed my brother's wedding because I was doing something. I was like, come, sorry, I'm doing something. They understand that I'm putting the sacrifice in now, but it's going to pay off. And it did pay off. And so, like, when he once like, I bought him like these AirPods from Apple, and I bought him this and that and the other. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much, blah, blah. I was like, but I missed your wedding. So, here we go. So there's always moments that I always yearn back then when I made all these sacrifices, and I'm still making sacrifices, not going to people's weddings and birthdays and stuff because I'm sacrificing, but I do spend quality time with them when the time's right for me. And I'm selfish. And you need to be selfish as an entrepreneur.
I don't
and
think
as a
there's
person
anything
as well.
wrong in being selfish.
Sometimes no is the best thing you could do.
Yeah.
No can be an advantage and it can be a disadvantage. But even if you're not an entrepreneur, and I say it to my friends, because I'm so busy, I've got this, and it's like, you're busy because you said yes.
Yeah.
You don't have to be busy if you say no.
Learn when
And
to say
going
no.
out and partying and spending money and doing different things and saying yes to everyone's wedding and going there is like, you don't have time for yourself. If you don't have time for yourself, how are you going to make those financial decisions or business decisions? Because you're just so wrapped up in other people's BS. And I'm very unemotional at the best of times, as you can probably tell, but I've made those sacrifices to be me and to do what I want to do. And that's what I love.
And that is what gotten you to where you are right now.
It's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to make a sacrifice, but are you willing to make that sacrifice? And I said this on a different podcast, is that you need to sacrifice 5 years of your life. Are you willing to give that 5 years up? And the answer is no. So don't look at me thinking, he's got it all and his dad's rich and this, that, and the other, because no, I sacrificed 5 years of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm at the top in certain respects. And I'm enjoying it. And it's great. And that's what I want. So